Today, we're diving into India's new digital personal data protection rules. Now, this is a massive deal. It's basically a complete rewrite of the relationship between you and, well, all the countless apps and websites you use every single day. So, what does this new rulebook actually mean for you and me? Let's get into it.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Every time you order food, book a cab, or scroll through social media, you're leaving a digital footprint. Your location, your preferences, your contacts, it's all out there. And for years, the rules around who gets to use that data and how, well, they've been murky at best. This new law is all about answering this one fundamental question: who is really in control here?
To figure that out, we're going to break this whole thing down into 5 key parts. First up, we'll look at the new digital deal to get a handle on the main players. Then, we'll see exactly how this gives you more control. After that, we'll check out the new playbook that companies have to follow. We'll also cover these super important protections for kids, and finally, we'll see what happens when things go wrong and these rules actually get broken.
All right, so let's kick things off with the absolute basics of this new digital deal. The whole law is really built around just 2 key players, and if you understand their roles, everything else just clicks into place.
And it's actually pretty simple. First, you've got the data principle. And yep, that's you. It's any person whose data is being used. Then you have the data fiduciary. That's them, the company, the app, any organization that's handling your data. You can almost think of them as a trustee, someone with a legal duty to be responsible with your info. This you versus them idea is really the heart of the whole thing.
Now, this digital revolution isn't just going to happen overnight. The rules are being rolled out in phases to give everyone time to adapt. So, the Data Protection Board, that gets set up by November 2025. A year after that, these new consent managers come into play. And then, by May 2027, the really core rules about data handling and your rights will be fully in effect for everyone.
Okay, so the foundation is set. Now for the really good part. How do these rules actually give you more power over your own digital life? This is where you're going to see the balance of power really start to shift back to us, the individuals.
This right here is the absolute heart of it. We're talking about the end of those pre-checked boxes that are buried in some 50-page document full of legalese. Consent now has to be a clear, separate request. And here's the real game changer. Companies have to make it just as easy for you to take back your consent as it was to give it in the first place. No more jumping through hoops.
So this law is basically handing you a brand new digital toolkit. You now have the right to get notices in plain, simple language. Companies have to tell you the exact reason they want each piece of data. You can pull your consent whenever you want. You can even nominate someone to manage this stuff for you. And get this, you can demand a summary of all the data a company has on you.
And the law introduces a totally new idea, the consent manager. Okay, think of it like a universal remote for your data privacy. Instead of having to manage permissions inside every single app, these new platforms will give you one single dashboard. From there, you can see, manage, and cancel all the permissions you've ever given out. It's a super powerful way to centralize your control.
So we've talked about all your new rights. But for every right you get, companies, those data fiduciaries, get a new responsibility. So let's flip the script and take a look at the brand new playbook they're going to have to follow. This really shows you just how big the change is. The old way was all about hiding consent in those super long, vague terms and conditions. The new way, it demands a clear, itemized request for every single piece of data, and each one has to have a specific purpose. It's a total shift from ambiguity to crystal clear clarity.
And it goes beyond just asking for permission. Companies are now legally on the hook to actively protect your data with some serious security measures. We're talking about encryption, scrambling your data so it's unreadable to outsiders. We're talking about strict access controls, so only the people who absolutely need to see your data can. And they have to keep detailed logs and backups. The point is, these aren't just suggestions anymore. This is the law.
And here's another huge one. Companies can't just hoard your data forever. This is called purpose limitation. It means that once the reason they collected your data is done, like say your package has been delivered, they are legally required to get rid of it. They can't just let it sit on a server for years just in case. The era of digital hoarding, it's officially coming to an end.
Okay, let's switch gears to something incredibly important in these new rules, the specific protections that have been put in place for minors, which the law defines as anyone under the age of 18. And here is the bottom line.
For any service that processes data from someone under 18, getting verifiable parental consent is now the absolute, non-negotiable default. And that word verifiable is key. This isn't about a kid just clicking a box saying, "I have permission." The burden of proof to actually confirm a parent's consent now falls squarely on the company.
So this is how it actually has to work. When a child tries to sign up for something, the platform has to go out and actively contact a parent. Then, it has to verify that the person giving the okay is actually an authorized adult. It's only after that whole process that the consent is considered valid. This adds some real, solid layers of protection for kids online.
Okay, so we've got new rights for us and new responsibilities for companies. But what happens when things go wrong? Because, they will. What happens when there's a data breach? This last section covers the new rules for accountability.
72. Just look at that number. What is that? It's not just a number. It's a deadline. And it's a deadline that puts a ton of new pressure on companies to come clean when something bad happens.
Yep, that number is 72 hours. If a company has a data breach, they now have just 72 hours to report it to the Data Protection Board. And, just as important, they have to tell you, the person who is affected, without any delay. They have to tell you what happened, what they're doing to fix it, and what you can do to protect yourself. The days of sweeping these breaches under the rug are over.
And who's going to enforce all this? Well, meet the new digital referee, the Data Protection Board of India. This is the new independent group that will handle complaints, investigate when things go wrong, and, this is key, have the power to hit companies with some pretty big penalties if they break the rules. They're the ones at the whistle.
So as we start to wrap up, this is really the big picture. From getting clear consent and having new rights, to making companies accountable, and having a powerful new ref on the field, the entire digital world is being rebalanced. For the very first time, your personal data is being legally treated like it's your property, and now you've got a rule book to protect it.
But of course, having rules is just the first step. The real test is going to be how they're implemented, how they're enforced, and honestly, how well we all use these new tools we've been given. And that leaves us with the final big question to chew on. Will this new framework be enough to truly build a safer, more transparent digital India? I guess only time will tell.